If you don't like scattered stories, if you don't like long drawn out explanations, just stop now. You're not going to enjoy me. Briefly, the van's broken. I got locked out of the house. I left my purse in the other car, so I had no money. It is 89, but feels like 100 with a heat index of 100. Did I mention my phone had died? This is the camper my aunt bought, and she's storing it at my house because she doesn't have a place where she lives. Oh, yes. I forgot. I don't know how to back up a camper, and I know this because... Hello again, friend. It's me, Sarah B. It's Sunday afternoon, around 2 o'clock, and I have a story to tell. First of all, disclaimer, I am a mess because I worked my weekend. I went to work Friday at 3 p.m. I worked an 18-hour shift till Saturday at 9. And then I went back to work last night from 11 p.m. until this morning at 9. And then I went to church. So I'm tired. I got, just briefly, the van's broken. I got locked out of the house. I left my purse in the other car, so I had no money. Did I mention my phone had died? Christopher had been playing with it at church. It had like 30% when I got to church, and he handed it back to me right after church, and it was dead because we switched vehicles, and I don't have a car charger, and so my phone was dead when I got home. It's a story, so I'm going to tell you, and then we're going to go on a field trip and see the campers, so I can tell you more about that. But Friday, so just 2 short days ago, because today's Sunday, Friday, I dropped the kids off at school, and I'm sitting at a light, and the car or the van rather, the new van, new to me van, starts kind of pulling and idling really rough, and then pretty soon here comes the check engine light. So I go and I get my Walmart order picked up. I'm a mess. I know I'm a mess. It's been a rough few minutes. So I go in and finish getting my grocery order picked up. It's idling really rough. I call the shop and I'm like, hey, this is what it's doing. And they're like, well, bring it by and we'll hook it up and see what we can figure out. And so I take my milk and my frozen goods home, and I go back over there to the shop. So, I mean, this all happened really quick. And he hooks me up and immediately tells me it's going to be $900. I'm like, what? I need number 3 cylinders misfiring. I need a new coil. I need new spark plugs. They're underneath something that has to be taken out in order to be put in. So there's lots of labor involved in that. I need a oil change and a light. My front blinker light is out. $900. I'm like, can I drive my car? Because I can't do that. And they're like, no, you really shouldn't drive it, because if you do, you could run the risk of doing way more damage. And I'm like, okay, so bless my aunt, just bless her. I called her and I said, can I please borrow the Jeep? I've got my van's out for a little while until I can figure out how to get it fixed. And she's like, sure, yeah. And anyway, my neighbor happened to be home. I said, are you able to help me? I've got, it'll take about an hour. And she goes, yeah. Like, I don't know if I want to commit to doing this. But anyway, she was able to give me a ride. I'm driving the Jeep again, which is what I drove after the accident in January. Thankfully, my aunt has a big old black truck to drive now instead of being without a vehicle that she bought to tow the camper, which we'll go see in a minute. Anyway, so today at church, Rodney's Blazer, it's an '08 Blazer, has a broken shock that we need to get fixed. And he doesn't want to drive it anywhere, which I completely understand, for fear of doing too much damage to the suspension. So we swapped vehicles. I have 2 sets of keys. This is not my house key of all things. And in the process of getting the kids hooked up into the Jeep with the car seats, etc., I didn't realize I didn't pick up my purse that had my house key on it. And Rod said, "Yo, I see you have the keys. So I can go ahead and go." And I was so tired. I'm like, okay. I had set these keys down in the seat of the Blazer, went and buckled up Mila, and went to get my purse and completely forgot about it. And then he took off. I took off, and it wasn't until I got, I was about 4 minutes down the road. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I left my purse in there. It didn't dawn on me that my house key was still in the purse until I got home, and I got up the steps to open the house, and I'm like, wait a minute, that keys for the house is in my purse on my other keychain. I'm like, oh, fun. So I walk around to the side to see if maybe some of the kids had gone out the side door this morning and it didn't get locked. No such luck. This is 12 or 2 o'clock now. This happened at noon, so 2 hours ago. I don't know what the temperature was 2 hours ago, but right now it is 89, but feels like 100 with a heat index of 100. And I'm like, well, you go sit in the car in the shade, or you can sit under the tree in the yard, and that's what I ended up doing. I've been sitting in the yard under a tree. So I get home, I realize, number one, I can't get into the house, and number two, my phone is completely dead, and I need to find a place to stay until somebody can help me. And so I just pulled up a couple chairs under this big huge tree, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but the wind is pretty good. So even though it's 89 degrees and feels like 100 outside, I have been completely shaded. Praise the Lord, thank you very much. Completely shaded, and the breeze has not stopped, so I have not suffered for the heat at all. I don't know what time my neighbor got home, but at some point I was laying there, and I'm sitting in 2 chairs with my feet propped up. I'm sitting here, and I heard a noise. Our houses are like 15 feet apart. Well, there's probably more room than that, but her property line, I'm sitting like 5 feet from her property line, and then her house is right here. Anyway, we're close, and we've had to become close neighbors, and she's a wonderful neighbor. But I was like, oh, Jeannie, but she didn't hear me, because I saw her go in the house and the door shut, and I'm like, oh, crack. Well, here she comes bringing dogs outside, and I'm like, Jeannie, my phone's dead, can you help me? And so she was able to charge my phone, and I just sat in the yard and dozed off. I've been taking naps, just not in my bed. Anyway, she brought me back my phone a few minutes ago, and the first thing I did, I called my husband. I'm like, hey, baby, I got locked out of the house, and all that stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh. Of course, he knows it's 100-degree temperature outside. He probably thought I was melting, but I'm completely comfortable. And my brain was so addled. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. He's like, we're on our way. And then I hung up with him, and I realized, well, I'm like, are any of my other neighbors home? Could I go use one of their bathrooms? And then I realized, dummy, you have the keys to the Blazer. Just get in it and go to the gas station and go to the bathroom. So I call Rodney back, And he doesn't answer because he's actually trying to call me. And I don't know why he was trying to call me. But anyway, I ended up calling my aunt. And I'm like, hey, can you tell him not to freak out? I'm perfectly fine. I'm sitting in the shade. I forgot that I can get in the blazer and go to the bathroom. So no worries there. Because if you have an old lady's ladder, you know what I'm talking about. It could be a huge worry if you don't take care of problems. These feel so nice. You get out from underneath this shade though, and it is brutal. I found that out when I went to the gas station. I'm like, no wonder he's freaking out, worried about me being outside. He's like, I'm coming home, we'll get you in the air conditioning. I'm like, okay, but I'm fine. And I truly am. Anyway, so yeah, he's coming to rescue me and let me into the house. My neighbor was able to charge my phone and give it back to me. I put out the SOS, and now that I've got a little bit of time before they get home and I've had a little bit of a nap, I think we'll go and explore the camper, and I will tell the story of camping. My very, 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 very first time driving a Dodge Ram 1500, pulling a 22-foot camper. Okay, this is the camper my aunt bought, and she's storing it at my house because she doesn't have a place where she lives. It's 22 foot. I'll take you inside. Just remember this setup right here when I'm telling my story. I'm calling that the hitch and the post because it's important. Okay, first things off, this step is my nemesis. It's supposed to be able to be lifted up and pulled out, and I have all of the things that happened, it defeated me. So we went camping, got back, we picked it up on Tuesday, we got back on Thursday because she had a doctor's appointment. So I'm going to climb up in here and show you, but it's got our stuff in here because we used it, so hang on. Okay, so I'm standing in the doorway. There's a bedroom with, I think it's probably a queen size bed in it. This is the bed my kids and I slept in when we went. There's really good storage in here. There's a storage little hidey hole there, and there's another one underneath, and then this whole mattress lifts up and you can put stuff underneath here. This sofa jackknives and becomes a twin bed, I believe, is probably about the size of it. And then we have this dinette, which this table, you lift it up, take the poles out, and then you can set it down, and this makes another twin size bed. We have a sink, some more storage. That's the heater, an oven, cooktop, a vent and microwave. Got some more storage above here. You're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just go sit in the camper and turn on the air? Well, there's no power for the air. So anyway, we've got, this is above the dinette, more storage. We have a really nice sized refrigerator. This is the freezer section. It's like an apartment sized fridge. And freezer and refrigerator. And then a little more storage. And then we have a bathroom with a tub, shower. We did not use the tub shower combination because we didn't want to turn on the water heater. We've got storage here, and then a big, huge storage cabinet in here. So it goes from like where just above the toilet to all the way up to the top, but underneath is not storage. You can't store anything in there. It's probably wheels or something, I don't know. A little vent. So I'm just gonna, that's our little camper. It sleeps, theoretically you can get 2 here, especially kid-sized people. 2 there and 2 there, so 2, 4, 6, theoretically. The kids and I slept in there, so there were 3 in there. And Kathy was out here, and then we could have gotten at least 1 more adult or 2 small people. So, the camping place that we bought it from is a dealership, which normally, apparently it's a very good company to deal with. The reason I know that is because whenever we got to the campsite, originally we were going to go to my mom's and park in her yard, but the dealership told us if we tried to plug in to residential electricity for the air conditioning, it would melt the system wires. And so I had no interest in that. So we pivoted from that plan and went to a campground that was in Hannibal, very near her house. And so we would have electricity, which was wonderful. It was really nice, actually. So anyway, at the campground, whenever we got there, I was struggling to do some things, and this really nice couple had just gotten back to their campground, and I'm like, excuse me, can you help me for a second? I don't know how to do, I don't remember what it was. And he's like, well, I'd be happy to help you. And he comes over and he assesses the situation. He says, well, where's your blocks? Where's your chucks? Where's your da-da-da? I said, we don't have any of those things. He's like, where did you buy this from? I said, Camping World. And he said, that's so strange. We deal with them all of the time, and they're always really good about making sure we have everything we need. I said, I don't know how it happened. We just picked it up this morning. They give us a quick run through and then cut us loose. Because we had been at Camping World so long already that day, she's like, you're going to have to drive. I can't. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm thinking in my brain, no, it's not. No, it's not. How am I going to get home? I don't know how to get on the interstate with this. But anyway, I did it. They had already hooked everything up for us. So we pile into the truck, and I drive out, and everything is fine. It's actually fairly simple. I just go really slow. Try to make sure that I watch my mirrors, and surprisingly, the truck is very easy to drive, and has lots of power, and I can't tell if there's any problems because I've never driven the truck, but there was some pulling. I know now. I've since driven it without the camper being attached, but so we head out from there, and I'm driving out of the section where the stuff is at, and I'm like, how are we going to get home? I don't want to get on the interstate. And she's like, well, just take this way, which I did, and we were fine. We got back to her house so we could load up. She had set aside some stuff to put in the camper, and we didn't want to like load it all up into the pickup truck and then transfer it at the Camping World, so we backtracked 20 minutes to get her stuff. And then we went 20 minutes back the other way. So we went, it was 40 minutes, but it was, anyway, that's whenever we got into the truck the second time is when she tried to drive, and she's like, I'm like, no, I'll do it, because it was, anyway. That's not my story to tell, so I'm not going to tell it, I guess is where I'm going with that. So I knew I would be okay to get on the interstate from Sherman because it's a straight shot. There aren't any real turns or anything. So I was like, okay, we're just going to get on the interstate, and it's a 100% straight shot to Hannibal. There's only a few turns to the campground. I think we'll be okay by then. It was a 2-hour drive. So we get back in the, everybody gets situated. I'm driving, get on the interstate, and it's pulling a little bit, but I don't, like I said, I'd never driven the truck without pulling the camper, so I didn't know if it was the camper or the truck or what. And I am melting in here, so I'm going to pause this and go back to my shady tree. My kids and my husband are home. I'll continue this story another time. Okay. I never got around to finishing my camping story. Today is actually Monday. I'm actually in the break room at work. I went and gave plasma this morning. I've done a video on, excuse me, a video on donating plasma, and in that video I referenced that as long as there's no problems, you'll you'll get your money, etc. But today there was a problem. So anyway, if you're curious about donating plasma, there will be a video on that. And I'm sorry for the background. I hope you can ignore it. I have an hour to waste, so that's what we're going to do. I think because it's been 6 months since I donated, and I only have one good vein, and I went Saturday and today's Monday, that I set myself up for a little bit of failure. I didn't have enough recovery time, even though technically you can go with 1 day in between. I don't think that was what my vein was happy about, so I only did 45% of my donation today, and so I got $45 instead of $100. Still better than nothing. So anyway, about my story, the camper van. I'm not flashing anybody, am I? A little bit of boot there, but no, I'm not flashing. They're big, they get in the way. Are we okay with this? If you don't like scattered stories, if you don't like long drawn out explanations, just stop now. You're not going to enjoy me. But if you've got me on in the background, or you know, you know me and you love me, then there you go. So I was explaining that I'd never driven a Dodge Ram 1500 truck. I've never driven anything that big before. I have certainly never pulled a camper, much less a 22-foot camper before. And my aunt and I have I've tent camped. She's camper camped, but it was when she was a child, and she is in her 60s now. So basically, we know not of anything. We were counting on Camping World, making sure that we had what we needed and making sure we knew what we needed to know. And as we discovered, they seem to have failed at that task, and I'm not sure if it's because we failed at making sure they understood that we didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. Anyway, so we get to the campground and to set up. And again, we're at the campground instead of my mom's like we planned, because we need the 30 amp power so we can have air conditioning, because it's really, really warm right now. And there was a pool there, so, you know, it wasn't like bummer we can't go to my mom's, but it was like, yay, we get air conditioning and a pool to access. For us to access. So I'm asking this gentleman, and he for help, because they just walked up to their camper, which was close to ours, and he was so very nice. And he's like, before you do anything, you need blocks to support your post, and you need that's something to stop your wheels from moving if the trailer moves, because it's personally happened to me, he said. And you need blocks to go under the stabilizers. And we did not have any of those. And I said, well, my dad lives nearby. I think we can get what we need from him. We just need to get the truck unhitched. And he's like, I've got something you can use to keep your wheels from moving. And so he kindly loaned us a wedge, and he got a stick. The wedge went under the back wheel, and the stick went in the front wheel. Not sure it would have stopped anything had it really needed to, but and so then I borrowed a brick from the fireplace ring, had the bricks around it that were not set in, they were just loose. Quickly realized that one brick is not enough, and ended up with two. And so we were able to lower the post down enough to raise up the camper enough to release it from the ball hitch on the truck. And then he kind of helped me to figure out which order it was to go in to get things unhooked. Because I thought, I literally said to this man, can't I just pull this pin back here and release the whole thing? He said, no, you cannot do that. I don't remember the reason, but he said that would not be good to do that. You have to do it in this order. I'm like, okay, fine. And that stuff's heavy, trust me, on that one. But yeah, so got it unhooked. Wasn't confident that I would be able to get it hooked back up again. Spoiler alert, I did. And we go off to see my, what do? We go off and let the kids swim, And then my mom and dad came and saw us at the camper. And I'm like, hey, we need these things. Can you help us out? He's like, yeah, I can help you out. He didn't do that, though. He forgot or something. I don't know. Anyway, he got me set up. He helped me to lower the stabilizers. We didn't have anything underneath them. So, you know, we were just kind of being gentle with the whole thing. And then he's like, you'll be all right for a night like this. So we went and we, I don't remember what happened. I think I got it unhooked. We went and had to their house and had dinner, and then they came out and saw the camper, and he made sure that the stabilizers were okay, etc. And we spent the night in the camper. At some point, I had to figure out how to hook up the septic drain hose and the water and the electricity, which I did. There's just lots of stuff you don't know you don't know. But now that I've done it, we spent 2 nights in it, I think we'll be fine. When we got back to town, we timed it so that my husband could back it in to where it's parked right now because, oh yes, I forgot. I don't know how to back up a camper, and I know this because we missed our turn into the campsite, and GPS said go down to the next street and turn. Well, we did that, and the sign said stop, your GPS is wrong, you cannot go further from this point. There was no place to turn around. I had to back up, and when I tried to back up, I got us good and stuck because when you're backing up, it doesn't go the way a normal car goes. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to explain it. My husband's like a professional truck driver. He's been driving for 30 years, and he's like, we'll have to do some training on this so that you know what to do. But anyway, we got stuck in this guy's yard. And finally, to the point where I'm like, I can't do this. I have to get help. I get out, and I go up to the front door, and he's like, can I help you? I'm like, I'm stuck. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I tried to turn around. He's like, no problem. So he gets in the truck and backs this thing up and gets us pointed right in the direction. And then we went to onto the campsite. But so I learned about myself that I can drive a Dodge Ram 1500 pickup. I can pull a camper. I can unhook a camper. I can now set up a camper. I can set up the power and the water and the sewage hose, and I can also unhook the power, unhook the water, unhook the sewage hose. I can also hook the hitch back up. Need 2 hands for that one. That stuff's heavy. I backed that pickup truck right up to that hitch. My aunt says, you've got 2 feet. So I let off the brake, and she's like, stop. And I had kind of hit it. I'm like, okay, so I learned that when the person behind me thinks there's 2 feet, for that in the person in the car, that's like ½ an inch of room. That's what it feels. So anyway, we've got some practicing to do as far as communication for parking it, but yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My husband is off this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We don't have any plans, so we're going to actually go back to Hannibal. My stepdad assures me that he has a generator that can support air conditioning. And I can tell you right now, if his generator does not support air conditioning, we will be finding a campsite that does. But hopefully his generator can run the air, and that way we don't have to pay for a campsite, and we can just hang out there. And yeah, we go to Hannibal frequently. We're going to go to the pool. We're going down on Wednesday, and we'll just hang out with them. On Thursday, they've got doctor's appointments, so we're going to go to the local pool or maybe the beach. I don't know. I think my sister's going to join us, and so we'll see how it sleeps to have 3 adults and 3 kids in the camper with this trip. And then we'll be back Friday. I have to work Friday night. That'll be the first trip that I make with just my husband without my aunt, and then my aunt and I are gonna make plans to go again. So that's the camper. Excited to have it. Excited to be able to use it. When I got home, my husband was able to
find all the blocks that we needed to block the wheels and support the stabilizers and the hitch. So that stuff will all be with the trailer going forward. They're wood. We had cut down a tree, and so these are chunks of wood from that tree that we were able to use. So we may choose in the future to get some lighter material to do that with, but for now, we're good. So, learning lots of stuff about myself this summer. Next time we go out, I'll try to get some film. And that's my story. I'll talk to you again as soon as I can, friend. Bye.